Nintendo Switch 2, the release date, hardware info, exclusive games, and third parties. Everything you need to know now. Nintendo had its big Switch 2 Direct today, and there was a ton of info over the hour-and-a-half presentation. Let's condense that down to this bite-sized report. First off, the Switch 2 now has an official release date, June 5th, 2025, just around the corner. The system will run at 1080p and up to 120 FPS while undocked, and can go up to 4K 60 FPS while docked, with HDR options available. The Joy-Con now comes with mouse movement options and a chat button that brings up a Discord-style group chat that also allows you to screen share regardless of what game you're playing. A separately sold camera can also be used with the chat and some games. It has 256 gigabytes of internal memory and now uses micro SD express cards for storage, with a switch-to-switch system transfer also available. There's also a game sharing service for select games that allows you to loan them out to play with up to 3 other people. A new Pro controller is available, and some select GameCube games have been added to Nintendo's subscription service. Finally, there is limited backwards compatibility with Switch 1 games. If you would like to know what games are or aren't compatible with Switch 2, check out the official link in the description. Now let's talk exclusive games. There's 3 types they showed off in the show: pure Switch 2 exclusives, Switch 1 plus 2 exclusives, and Switch 1 games getting Switch 2 upgrades. Let's talk with the really exclusive exclusives. Mario Kart World is scaling up the series with free roam driving in between all of the bespoke tracks. A larger racer count of 24 and new modes like the multi-leg knockout mode are going to make this the biggest game in the series by a mile. It's also an optional pack-in game for the console, so it's probably going to break some sales records while it's at it. There were 2, let's call them tech demos, they showed us as well. Welcome Tour is basically a virtual manual that lets you explore the Switch 2's features. Now, I have no clue why it's a paid thing instead of free, but I'm gonna guess that'll probably change in a short amount of time. To show off the Joy-Con's mouse controls, a wheelchair basketball game called Drag X Drive was shown. It seems like a fun idea, but the presentation came off kind of sparse. It needed some kind of visual flair to it. Again, felt like a tech demo. Nintendo is also partnering with Koei Tecmo again for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. This would be the second game to marry Nintendo's Zelda world with KT's signature Musou gameplay. Now, Dynasty Warriors Origins came out earlier this year, and it was an exceptionally good game that kind of left all of the previous Dynasty Warriors games in the dust. Here's hoping that Hyrule Warriors got started after what they learned from developing that. Until we see some real gameplay in action, it's gonna feel like a total coin flip quality-wise. Also coming this year are Show Enders Kirby Air Riders and Donkey Kong Bonanza. Air Riders was mostly a teaser trailer, but it looks like that's what Sakurai has been working on lately, so that's a good sign. And Bonanza looks like the type of big adventure you want to start a new console with. There's a big focus on environmental destruction and manipulation. DK is feeling very Wreck-It Ralph, and I'm here for it. But the biggest upset of the show was not actually the games they ended on, it's what played before them. A new exclusive Switch 2 game from Software, and it's not just any game, it's Bloodborne 2 with a legally distinct name. The Dusk Bloods trailer showed tons of character designs and environments Bloodborne lovers have been begging Sony for let me check, almost 10 years. But it leans a bit more into the vampirism, and there's a bit of a steampunk vibe to it that feels more than you'd get from the original Bloodborne. I don't think anyone is going to let Sony forget this one. They fumbled a bag for 10 years straight until their competition just came in and did what everyone was asking for. I really wish they had left this one for last because it feels like the ultimate mic drop move. Then there's the gray area games. I guess you can call them exclusive to Nintendo hardware. 2 games will be released on both Switch 1 and Switch 2. Those being Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends ZA. Those were discussed in the Nintendo Direct last week with a lot more detail, so it's not that unexpected. One nice thing is that Metroid's getting a mouse aiming function in the Switch 2 version, and both games look like they'll be running at higher frame rates and resolutions. Personally, I feel they probably should have kept these Switch 2 exclusive only, with the release only being a couple months out. As it is, they're basically serving the role that Twilight Princess did in the GameCube to Wii transition. Finally, there's some Switch 1 games that have paid upgrades for the Switch 2. Those include Mario Party Jamboree, with additional games and modes that use the Switch 2 features. Both of the Switch Zelda games running at better resolutions and frame rates, and Kirby Forgotten Lands looks to be getting new playable content. Ports! An absolute metric shit ton of ports from third parties was announced. Elden Ring Tarnished Edition. Though Shadow of the Erdtree content was conspicuously absent in what was shown. Hades 2, Street Fighter 6 with DLC and amiibos, the Daemon X Machina sequel, Titanic Scion, Split Fiction, EA and 2K both have sports games available, Hogwarts Legacy, Tony Hawk 3 and 4, Hitman along with a 007 project teaser, Bravely Default gets an HD remaster, and Yakuza 0 gets a director's cut with new scenes. Deltarune fans finally got a release date for chapters 3 and 4, which are releasing everywhere on the Switch 2's launch date. Immediately after the Deltarune announcement was Randy Pitchford looking like Austin Powers, and I guess Borderlands 4. Civ 7 Survival Kids, Enter the Gungeon 2 is looking pretty cool. Star Seeker Astroneer Expeditions, Cyberpunk 2077, and Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Then they hit us with a third-party reel that gives like 5 seconds per game, so I'm not speed talking all that, but I'll put the list in the description. The ones that caught my eye were Silksong, the Hollow Knight sequel, giving us about 5 seconds of footage after all these years to say, yeah, it still exists, I guess. I'll play it when it comes out, but give me something of substance. I don't know. The Raidou Remaster, which apparently is already sold out of its special editions, so the second game is probably going to get remastered now too. That's cool. The AI Somnium Files game, No Sleep for Kaname Dante, and a weird one I thought for the real, Professor Layton in the New World of Steam. I had to go look to check. That's a new Layton game. It didn't get a section, it just got stuck in the reel. That's so strange. All in all, I counted about 52 games in this presentation, and that's on top of all the service and hardware announcements. Pretty crazy altogether, and frankly a lot to compile for a short report like this. I don't say it often, but Nintendo did a good job. If things go as planned, this is going to be one of the strongest launch years for a console ever. Hey, if you like the show, make sure to subscribe on YouTube for more gaming news, long-form media videos, music, and live streams. You can also follow me on X at Little Known Fact and at Known Fact on Blue Sky. Finally, if you need some music, I'm available for commission on VGen as Known Fact. See you guys tomorrow.